What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JT, and we are back to the Crypto Den. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics. Will crypto take over the dollar? Will it do it? And I'll get to that answer at the end. But first, I want to explain the history of the dollar. I know that's kind of a weird thing. You got to look at a dollar as a product or even as an invention, as a technology, because it really is. Before we discovered currencies, it was a barter system, and our communities and civilizations were kind of stuck at a certain size. So the invention of a currency allowed the ability to scale your dominion as your population grew. This is throughout human history, right? And so on. And the US dollar is just another version of the seashells in Greek or the stone circles in Mesopotamia. It's all about currencies, and currencies are an invention. And all of the inner workings of our dollar are what I'm covering today. For those who do not know, I am Jake Tullis, but I also go by JT, and I run a digital asset hedge fund called Bleeding Edge Capital, where I invest in crypto. So this question is a big question for people in my seat. And I want to take us back to World War II first. And I got some screens over here that'll, substantiate what I'm about to tell you guys. So in World War II, everyone was decimated in Europe and in Asia, really. There was the Pacific Theater, you know, the Nazis destroyed most of Europe, rubble, okay? And essentially, we all got together after that, created this Treaty of Versailles, and, it told Germany they can't do X, Y, Z, and that the reparations and all this other stuff. And then the United States specifically, um, would be the reserve currency because we had the most gold. Almost all of the gold had been sucked up in the war, and we kind of came in late and ended it quick with the bombs. So we had a lot of gold. We'd been buying a lot of gold. It was a strategy of ours while they were in turmoil as well. So we had the strongest currency by far. It was 70 some percent of the world's gold. And that really was the best period of America, from 45 to about 71, 72, 73 was probably the best time to be alive and an American. You could work at a gas station and retire a millionaire genuinely, or the equivalent. You had that kind of buying power from any job. It was a really interesting time economically speaking. I know socially it was a whole different ballgame. It was awful, but economically it was good. And the 70s hit, what happens is, for all of these civilizations, okay, it does not matter if it is the first humans in Mesopotamia that we are aware of, or, people claim that's the first civilization. I think it's older, but either way, and, or the US dollar, the population grows past the ability for the government, whoever has dominion over the population, to create enough of the assets that back that currency. Hey everybody, it's JT. Just in case you didn't know, I would love a sub. Almost 97% of you that have viewed our content have not subscribed, and it would mean the world to me if you just hit that sub button, give us a like, and let us know how we're doing. All right, back to the content. Okay, the Romans cut their coins in half. They had to double the money supply about 40 years before they, you know, went to shit. And it is just a result of, like let's say you help single mothers, okay, and you give them a certain amount a month to help those children. Okay, well, when you have 100,000 versus 10 million single mothers, the budget gets a little different. And when you can't pull enough gold out of the ground, right, you start running into a problem. So we get off the gold standard in the 70s, okay? And, oh, Investopedia, here you go. In the 70s, we all came together, got off the gold standard, crashed the market, and then we basically created this thing called OPEC. Okay. OPEC in the 50s, I'm sorry, in the 70s, for 50 years made an agreement in, I think it was 1974, that all of these countries would do trade in US dollar. So we basically invented this thing called the petrodollar, which is what we have right now. What we had. 50 years ended in 2024. I think it was September of 24. So now OPEC can trade in any currency, not just the US dollar. That's an existential risk to the value of the dollar, one. And two, it is basically the only thing propping up our dollar. Okay. Then you get to this concept of crypto taking over the petrodollar. If the petrodollar loses its place, which I don't think it will with what Trump's doing, but it is something to, you got to think about and you got to plan around. So will this petrodollar be uprooted by Bitcoin? Or will the dollar go on chain? Those are two different things when you think about crypto and the dollar. I do not believe Bitcoin will take over this petrodollar. I believe that we could switch dollars to a Bitcoin standard, maybe. I think that probability is low. I think it's very low. Okay. Um, and then secondly, you got to take a step back and think about blockchain. Blockchain's just a database, and it's really, really effective and efficient when it comes to smart contracts. Tether has very few employees and is able to profit more than BlackRock, managing a millionth of the money. It's pretty incredible. And it's because of smart contracts automating processes of programmable money, which are tokens. Tokens are better than files. They just are, especially when you deal with value, with money. So I think it's more likely that every country has their own blockchain with their own currency on it, their own token, which is their national currency. They just switch to a blockchain accounting and ledger system versus what we have now. And, by the way, they're doing it in real time. Take a look over here. We have this beautiful map that shows you all of the country's progress on CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Central bank digital currencies are exactly what I just described. A national currency on a controlled blockchain owned by the government. So it's not open, it's not permissionless. It is private and permissioned. So they're the administrators, all of us are users. Every direct deposit, every wire, the entire world would move around on chain because it's instant settlement, it's cheap, it's fast, you can track every single bit of it at all times, and you can program it. So, in theory, like in China, there are certain parts of China where, you know, they program the money in your checking account to be like, hey, I'm going to delete it, I'm going to burn it if you don't spend it. Or you're only allowed to buy 4 packs of cigarettes a month. That's your fifth pack, decline transaction. And basically, it's a vector of control that you couldn't even imagine. It's a very scary future, but I do think CBDCs are the future, unfortunately. The Republicans and Trump are fighting against it, which is great, and they've taken a very hard stance against that, which means we might do a public and permissioned currency, like a stable coin of sorts, which would be better, I believe. But, time will tell. My answer as a expert and professional hedge fund manager is crypto will just enhance the dollar, and it's a matter of which side we're on and who wins. I don't know, but either way, it's going to make the dollars better. and there's ways to make money off that in the long term. So keep coming back, keep learning, keep getting educated. I'm going to keep bringing content and my thoughts to you all. Hopefully you find them helpful. And until next time, take care of one another. Peace.